The things that we have in our heart that we think are impossible are often just milestones waiting to get accomplished if you can push those limits. Listen, everything was impossible until someone did it, so you can either hang around people that tell you it can be done or hang around people that inspire possibilities. Welcome to the Path to Unlimited, weekly interviews with entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, those that inspire possibilities. And I'm your host, Julian Marion. All right, welcome guys to episode 2 with Elrod. Al is the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Miracle Morning, which has over 900 5-star reviews on Amazon. And Al is just amazing. This interview is a little bit crazy. Whenever I started the interview, something happened with my kids, so they jumped into the room where I was recording, so we had to cut and do another take. But this is just an amazing interview. If you don't know about Al, he became a best-selling author, an international keynote speaker, but also Al died. At age 20, his car was hit head-on by a drunk driver, and he was found dead at the scene. So after 6 minutes or so, without a heartbeat, and 6 days in the coma, he woke up, and it was devastating news because he had 11 broken bones and suffered permanent brain damage at the time. So, he just defied the logic of just like coming back and and started coaching and pushed forward. But since then, he dedicated his life to helping others to overcome their negative influences and self-imposed limitation so that they can achieve their dreams. Really aligned with the Path to Unlimited mission that you should accept compliments from everyone, but limitations from no one. And here we go. This is episode 2 with Elrod.
Okay. So this is much better. Awesome. Okay. So that was a big one that I really wanted to ask you because I know now that you're kind of a different, stage, right? The first stage was, after the accident, and then your business, and then you had to bounce back, and now you have the book. So it's kind of like a different stage in your life and with your daughter.
Yeah. I recently was asked an interesting question. They said, why do you still do the Miracle Morning, in terms of like the reason you created it was to get yourself out of like that rock bottom, that low point in your life where you were depressed and you were broke and you were a mess. And how has it changed, or what does it still do for you? And it was an interesting question. I never was asked that. And I really thought about it, and I realized that the Miracle Morning is about becoming the person that you need to be to take your life to the next level. And that's the one thing that, we never attain the highest level, right? There's always a next level for us. And even if you get to a level of like success in business, say, for example, where you're like, dude, I'm like, I'm making $10 million a year. Like, I don't need to make any more. That's it. It's level 10. I'm there. Then you look at, okay, well, how can I take my health to a level 10, or my fitness to a level 10, my happiness to a level 10? How can I take my level of contribution, right, to a level 10? And that is a level where it's almost impossible to ever fulfill your potential in terms of contribution until you're changing every life on the planet for the better, right?
That's true.
So it's interesting when you measure contribution is of any area of our life, it's probably the hardest one to attain level 10, which is great because it should constantly, and that's why people that achieve level 10 in every other area, you see these like, Bill Gates and, Warren Buffett and these guys, and I don't know if they have level 10 in every area, but they're definitely business-wise, finance-wise, they're at level 10. And then you see, dude, they dedicate their life to, to philanthropy and contribution.
Yeah, that is so true. And that makes me think of, Tony Robbins when he talks about just like progress, right?
Yeah.
That's what people
absolutely.
like the most, progress. And like you say, there's always a next thing, right? But as long as you keep on moving, that's what people are looking for the most. And I think that's where the Miracle Morning plays such a huge role, because you see progress, right? You're doing things you've never done. You never felt your body like this before, right? And really starts to exercising those muscles, like, the willpower, right? Like I kept on reminding myself some of the stuff that you said as far as like, hey, willpower is at its strongest in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you're struggling to wake up, it's like, hey, willpower is the strongest in the morning. If willpower is a muscle, then guess what? Now I'm exercising that muscle a little bit more. So that's a big one. So what do you think about limitations in general?
I think that they're virtually all self-imposed, right? Other than like physical limitations, like, I'll probably never slam dunk a basketball. You know what I mean? Like, other than physical limitations, which are also, this is a topic I'm really passionate about in terms of, for the most physical limitations, we can overcome them with the power of our mind, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was told I would never walk again after my car accident. And I said, I will walk again, and I'm going to put all my energy and faith, and I'm going to visualize walking again. And a week, 3 weeks after, my bone, literally my femur, broke in half, and my pelvis broke in 3 places. And I was told I would never walk. 3 weeks later, I took my first step and went on to become an ultra marathon runner. Right. And so I really think even physical limitations, for the most part, are the majority of them are self-imposed. So limitations, I think that, most people, they're conditioned, through, it's almost like, that old expression, like the sins of the father, that are passed down to their children or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost like that. It's like we adopt the limitations of our circle of influence, beginning with our parents. And so, Jim Rohn said it, right, that, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, right? And Tony Robbins says, he takes that and translates it and just simply says it, that who you spend time with is who you become. Mm-hmm. And so ultimately, that's arguably where the limitations start, is from our circle of influence, and beginning with our parents, and then they continue for the rest of our lives, unless we actively seek out people, those rare individuals that will bring us up and build us up and encourage us, and that are personally striving for, with higher standards in mind, living by higher standards, to where we look at them and it brings us up. So, that's something I actively do, is I seek out my peer group, and I really try to, literally identify who do I want to hang out with, and then I find a way to spend time with them, whether I, find out what's important to them and align with it, or find out what charity they support. And mm-hmm. I literally did this yesterday. There was a guy I want to connect with, so I found out what his favorite charity was, and I donated $1,000 in his name yesterday. And then I posted on his Facebook, well, hey man, really inspired by you, and I know you're a big supporter of this foundation, donated $1,000 in your name, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
You
cool.
do whatever it takes to connect mm-hmm. with the people that you want to connect with, and upgrade your circle of influence.
That is so cool. And that remind me of, there's even like a Bible verse that talks about that. I think it's like in Corinthians, it says, bad company corrupts good character.
Ooh, yeah, that's great.
Right?
That's great.
It's pretty much like, and again, I'm a Christian, but I know a lot of people are not necessarily believers. So every time you talk about the Bible verses or principles, some people will just like, have an excuse on why it shouldn't apply to them.
Yeah,
but if you look at all those, those motivational speakers or people that help you kind of change your mindset, like everything can, in my opinion, right, everything can kind of be brought back to some of the principles in the Bible, like, bad company corrupts good characters.
Yeah. Truth is truth, right? Wherever it comes from.
There you go. That is so true. Awesome. So, give me a time where like you limited yourself, like that this was you, right?
Dude, I do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I limit myself all the time. I as a human being, I think we all have, fears and insecurities. And like I talked about in the Miracle Morning book, that, mediocrity has nothing to do with how we compare, or little to do with how we compare to other people. And it's really all about how we compare to our potential, right? And therefore we all suffer from mediocrity, because very, very rarely are we actually living to our full potential. And that includes me, Mm-hmm. So, a specific time, remind me, what was your question again? A specific time that what?
A specific time where you limited yourself from achieving your full potential.
When it was writing the Miracle Morning, it was the most important goal, or one of the most important goals for me, for like 3 years in a row, I believe it was, before and it was the 4th year that I finally wrote it. Like every year I failed every year to write it.
Wow.
Because of fear and insecurity. And I just procrastination and all the things, right, that, mm-hmm. that people suffer from, if you will.
Awesome. So how did you conquer that? How do you conquer yourself?
For me, I hired a coach, and that's happened in the past before, where I hired a coach, and a way to do that, whether or not it's hiring a coach, is that you've got to leverage the intelligence and the support and the encouragement and the accountability, maybe most importantly, the accountability of another person. So again, whether you're paying them or they're just like a mastermind partner or whatever, you've got, and I'll give you an example of how I'm doing this right now without hiring a coach. I'm doing it with a friend of mine. But so here's the point. I didn't write the book for 3 years, and And then I finally, like, I personally am a coach, right? I've been coaching for 9 years. And so I understand, and I really help people to understand the value of accountability. I think accountability is arguably the single most important factor or tool that we can use to go to the next level. Because if you think about it, if you were to look at, okay, over the last 12 months, if I could have done things better, if I could have achieved, like if there's any goal I didn't achieve or something I would have liked to have done that I made excuses and I procrastinated, I didn't do. If you look at what would have made the last 12 months ideal, what the things were that you didn't do that would have made it ideal, those are the things that you need someone to hold you accountable for. Those are the things that you're likely to not do again. And I'm not saying that this is the only way. I'm saying that if you don't have someone else hold you accountable, you're worthless. You can't do it on your own. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that it's a fact that every single person on the planet has a level of potential they're not tapping into. And what I've found is that when you reach out, when you put in a system for accountability, and that's what I get hiring a coach or as a coach myself for my clients is, okay, the things that I normally put off, I'm going to tell my coach that I'm going to do those things by this date. Therefore, I'm going to leverage my integrity and my character. Therefore, when that voice in my head says, nah, you know what, just put the thing off. Just you can do it later. It's not that important. Like that voice has told me for the last, 5 years of my life, I'm going to have my coach's voice going or my mastermind partner's voice going, hey, dude, you gave me your word. Right. And it literally is that small distinction where you have that voice of mediocrity that chimes in and is like, yeah, you don't have to do it, Yeah. And then the voice of integrity chimes in. It's like, dude, you told someone you were going to do it. You made it public on your Facebook page. You told your coach, you told your friends, you told your mastermind partners, some way you've put your integrity on the line by having accountability in place. And I believe that is the single most important, that's the most effective way to take yourself to the next level. So to answer your question in the long form here, I hired a coach, and in 3 years of failing to write the Miracle Morning book, I wrote it in 3 months.
Wow, that's awesome.
And 3 months later it was written. 4 months later it was in, 1 month after I finished writing it, it was edited, and #1 bestseller on Amazon and all of that. So that's how I overcame it, man, is I employed the accountability of someone else.
That's awesome. That reminds me of Grant Cardone, right? Like he wrote one of his book in a weekend.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And he said I had it in me the whole time. I just, decided to hey, I'm gonna get it done today, right? And one weekend, boom, took it off. Or even Michael Jordan, right? He was great, but he needed Phil Jackson to really being able to, because he was so, the saying when it said, you can't see yourself when you're in the frame, right? You can look at the picture when you're in the frame. And that's why you need the coach to be able to say, hey, you know what? If you change this or take this approach, right, like you can have much greater result or get the job done much faster, right? Just like, I was starting to blog, but I didn't really do it. And then I was listening, to Entrepreneur on Fire and some of the different guests. And one of them was talking about OmWriter, right? And I just decided to try it out and to really commit, right, with my Miracle Morning, just really start to really focus on writing my goals and visualizing and got it done, right? Started to drop high content articles, start to get published on LinkedIn and things like that. So it's been very, very interesting.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now what about, the other side, right? So other people's limitations, right? Give me a time when someone trying to put a limitation on you, right?
Yeah.
Give me one of those times.
So another person put a limitation on me. It's interesting. I mean, I've been pretty fortunate that my parents were really supportive and really believed in me and let me kind of try and fail. I launched my first business when I was 15 as a mobile disc jockey doing like weddings and school dances. And, and for a 15-year-old, I mean, I'm making like $75 an hour when I launched it, so, I mean, great money when I was that young, and my parents, they let me do it. And then when I wanted to start in sales, my parents, I didn't know this till later. My mom apparently was deathly like against it, but she didn't let me know that. She was supportive. So it was one of those things where I told her, hey, Mom, I'm going to start selling kitchen knives. And she's like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do that? And okay, if you think so." And then it was one of those where, got off the phone and went to my dad and was like, "This is crazy. This is a bad decision. He shouldn't do this," right? My parents, they were cool. They were supportive of me, and they let me get out there and try it. And, within literally a week of selling knives, I had made more money that week than I had ever made than my parents made in a month. And they were like, "Oh, okay, maybe this isn't, maybe we were wrong about this." So, I honestly, there's nothing that stands out. Well, you know what? I take it back. Okay, it just hit me. Sorry, couldn't think of anything. The doctors told me I would never walk again. Right? They said I would probably never walk again,
Mm-hmm.
and I told my parents, and this is a lesson for everyone, right? The doctors might be experts in medicine or whatever the hell they do in there all day.
Yeah.
But they're not experts in me. And I said, they don't know, they don't know me, right? They don't know what I'm capable of, and in fact, I don't even know what I'm capable of, but I do know that I'm going to expect the best while I accept the rest. Right. And that's an important lesson I taught in my first book, Taking Life Head On. I talk about, you've got to in life expect the best from yourself, from other people, that allows you to be optimistic and look for the good in things and explore possibilities rather than limitations. But you've got to also be willing to accept the rest, because things don't always work out your way. And if you let that discourage you or defeat you mentally or emotionally or logistically, right, you're screwed. You got to be like, all right, I'm going for it. Oh, it didn't work out the way I wanted. I failed. Okay, whatever. Accept it, move on, right?
Uh-huh.
And if you can live that life with kind of on that, both sides of the coin simultaneously, where you're expecting everything to go great and you're accepting if it goes horribly, right?
Yeah.
And it's maybe, probably not as easy, it's easier said than done. It's not as easy to do for most people, but with anything, it's conditioning, it's practice. And for me, that's, where I'm able to live is I expect the best. I go big. It doesn't matter what other people say. I believe in myself, and I fail all the time. Right. And the times I succeed though are the ones that really count and that matter. And when I fail, I just pick myself up and keep going.
That is awesome. That is so true. It's such a good, explanation, kind of, on how to break through and fight some of those limitations. Now, if you have, we just like, last part, right? Talking about just like action plan. So what action plan would you give someone, that is stuck, right? By limiting, because they're just limiting themselves, right? And they don't know they're doing it, or they're allowing someone else to do that. Right, and they're just stuck, and they're like, "No, but I'm not. I just can't do this." And they told me I can do that. So, what kind of action plan would you give them?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the biggest thing. Yesterday I did an interview, and they asked me, "What would you tell yourself if you could go back in time? What age would you choose, and what would you tell yourself?" And I said I'd go. I'd find myself as like a freshman in high school, and I would tell myself, high school's only temporary, dude. Don't worry about it. Like all these guys that are all these assholes that are bullies and that are, you know what I mean? Like, dude, it doesn't matter in the end. They're all, number one, when you go, if I could tell my future self, I go, trust me, at your 10-year reunion, they're going to be like, dude, I heard you wrote a book and stuff. And right. They're in and they like,
true.
Yeah, they're just total jackasses. Right. So I would have definitely told myself that. But the advice for obviously people listening, not everybody's here is in high school, probably very few. So let's talk about more universal advice. And the advice that I would have given myself, that I would give anyone listening, is you've got to dedicate an hour a day, or at least 30 minutes, to your personal development, to becoming the person that you need to be to create the success that you want in your life. And most people are trying to achieve great success, or they want to achieve great success, but they're not developing themselves into who they need to be to achieve that success. So in other words, on a scale of 1 to 10, we all want level 10 success, but most people are staying at a level 2 or 3 themselves. Their level of personal development isn't increasing. And, Jim Rohn said it best. This is the whole philosophy that the Miracle Morning is based on, which is your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development. So if you want level 10 success, you've got to increase your level of personal development to be a level 10. And how do you do that? That's the Miracle Morning is made up of 6 personal development practices, those that highly successful people swear by, right? Meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. And and that's what so that's my advice, is dedicate 30 to 60 minutes a day to developing your mind, your knowledge, your confidence, your beliefs in yourself. How do you do that? Through reading, through affirmations, through visualization, through journaling, right? Develop your physical, mental, and emotional vitality through physical exercise every day, right? Become a level 10 person, and level 10 success will meet you head on.
So now, what would you tell someone that tells you, no, I have real limitations. You don't understand, right? I can't do this. I have, I'm ADHD, or, I can't do this because fill in the blank, right? They're trying to say I have real limitations. I understand what you're telling me, but this is circumstances in my life that doesn't allow me to do X.
I would say that, what, most of the most successful people in the world had limitations too, and they just didn't use their limitations as an excuse. They didn't let their limitations define who they are and where they went in life. They use their limitations as simply okay, here's an obstacle that I've got to manage, I've got to overcome. Most of the most successful people in the world have ADHD. You know what I mean? Like, that's documented. You can look it up, research it, right? Like,
yes.
just Google successful people that have ADHD, and it'll be like, oh wow, this billionaire has ADHD. This billionaire has ADHD. This millionaire has ADHD. Okay, I guess I don't have an excuse, right? Mm-hmm. I'm shy. Okay, Google successful people that are shy. Oh wow, Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, this girl's shy. Like, right? So it's like that. That's the bottom line, is that you can either make excuses of why you can't do something, or you can always find a way when you're committed. If you're committed, you can find a way to do anything and overcome anything, and that's really the bottom line of the approach someone has to take. We've all got limitations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received.
That is in general. It doesn't have to be in business. It can be just in life. Right?
Yeah. Here it is. Do what's right, not what's easy. That's the best advice I've ever received. That's the guiding principle for my life. Every moment when the alarm clock goes off in the morning and I'm like, I want to go back to bed. Do what's right, not what's easy. Boom. All right, I'm getting up. I go to a restaurant. I'm really hungry. I'm like, oh, that cheeseburger looks really good, right? But that salad would be much healthier, right? Do what's right, not what's easy, right? That is my conscious. That's the voice in my head. Do what's right, not what's easy, and that's the best advice I was ever given by my region manager when I was in sales.
Awesome. Like, just give us like one parting piece of advice, and the best way that people can just connect with you if they want to get in touch with Al and have questions about the Miracle Morning. What's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best place to get a hold of me is, you can go through my website and contact me through halelrod.com, HALELROD.com. You can also go through, probably the best place to connect is through the Miracle Morning community. If you want to join, like, I'm telling you, the Miracle Morning community, when I created it, a year and a half ago, I didn't have much of a vision for it. I just thought, I should have like a place where people, if they have questions about the book, could go. It has grown from 12 people to 4,600 and something.
Wow.
It's crazy. And anyone go join, just go to Facebook. It's on Facebook, search the Miracle Morning community. Make sure you type in community, because there is a Miracle Morning fan page, but that's not nearly as, cool or engaging. This is like this is the most supportive, interactive, accountable online communities, or offline, that I've ever seen. An example is this other guy today he shared, hey, I'm having a challenge with the Miracle Morning. Within like 24 hours, 33 people had given him advice. Wow. Like, how often do you post on Facebook, I need some advice, and 33 people give you advice that don't know you? These weren't even his friends, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he was a new guy to the community, right? So anyway, so I encourage you to, you can go to the website, halelrod.com. You can come join the Miracle Morning community. If you want to get the Miracle Morning book, or at least go check, go read, some of the 300 5-star reviews on Amazon.com. That's the best place to get it, on Amazon. And last but not least, if you're financially strapped right now and your money is tight, right? Someone can go to miraclemorning.com. If they're not ready to spend the $14 on the book, you can go to miraclemorning.com, and that's where you can get the first few chapters for free. You can get a 60-minute audio training for free and a 17-minute video training for free. And that way someone can, immediately get started on their Miracle Morning tonight, tomorrow morning, but, without even reading the book.
That's so awesome. And Al, again, I really do appreciate, the craziness of parenthood. That's all right, so good. Thank you so
Great
much.
to connect with you, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Hope you've enjoyed episode 2 with Al Elrod. You want to see the show notes? Go on tptunlimited.com/Al, H-A-L. And Al is such an amazing guy. Always, grateful for giving back and for what he has and the opportunity he was given, after the accident. Al truly is making an impact in our world today, and I hope that you can do the same. You can go and check out his book on miraclemorningbook.com. That is miraclemorningbook.com, as well as on Facebook and that community that they have going on right there. Remember that in life, you either put limitations on yourself or allow others to put limitations on you. Accept compliments from everyone, limitations from no one. See you on the path to unlimited.